Hello there and welcome to the Card Grotto. Today I'm taking a quick look at the new mini blending brush storage from Altenew. So as I'm unboxing this new item, I did just want to mention that I did receive this from Altenew as part of being on their design team. Without breaking confidentiality, I do get to pick what I want to use from Altenew, and I saw this and fell in love straight away. So I haven't been sent it to specifically promote it or anything like that. I did pick this item. If you followed me for a little while, you know how much I love crafty storage. I've done quite a few different craft room tours over the years, and it's always really focused on storage because for me that's really important in my craft room, to have things stored nicely. I am about aesthetics, I'm not going to lie, but for me it's also about function, and I will share a little bit more about that later on in the video. So it comes really well packaged. I've got some bubble wrap that I'm going to reuse, which is really quite handy. And the container has a lid, which is excellent, and it has acrylic sides and a bamboo base that you can pop your brushes into. The lid comes with these kind of like little pieces on the corners, and that is so that if you were to buy multiples of these, they will stack really nicely one on top of each other. And you can see at the bottom of this piece on the bamboo is kind of beveled around the sides, so that that's where those pieces fit into, and it's going to be really sturdy if you want to stack a few of these on top of each other. It's not going to kind of move around or anything like that, which is a really great idea. So I'm really glad that it's got a lid to this, because if I have it out, I don't want to get any dust or anything like that on my brushes. You can see that the acrylic at this moment in time is a little bit kind of frosty. It has got a protective coating on it, so you want to grab something. I'm using a pokey tool here. I found this the easiest thing to use, and I kind of just lifted it up a little bit at the corner there, being careful, and then I can remove that protective film. And it's got it on the two longer sides, it doesn't have it on the shorter sides, but this is just to protect the acrylic during transit so it doesn't get scratched or anything like that. So just being careful there to lift up this other piece, and you can see now that that acrylic is crystal clear. And then I just need to do the same thing for the lid, and it has got the protective film on both sides of the lid. I did find this a little bit more tricky just because of those kind of pieces there. So I went and grabbed my tweezers and I could just pull that off quite easily. Once I kind of lifted it up on the corner, it was fine. And then I'm just going to do the same thing for the other side. I kind of got into the hang of it at this point and managed to lift this piece up quite easily. And now you can see that again, it's really lovely crystal clear, and that fits on the top of the box really nicely. So you've got that bamboo insert at the bottom, which is where all your brushes can go into. And this is how I used to store my brushes. Now there's absolutely nothing wrong with this storage solution, but you can see that I was running out of space. Because of the height of my drawer, I can't have them kind of standing upwards because they would just fall over unless I completely filled this container. This is where the new storage item comes in really handy. The downside of storing them in this way is that if you have two brushes together, that the ink might transfer from one set of the brush to the other, and that's not a great thing ideally if you wanted to do that. Now there are two ways that you can add these brushes into this holder. You can have them brush side down, which is what is shared in the pictures on the packaging, or you can have it brush side upwards. You can get stickers that you can add onto the bottom of these brushes to say what colour of ink they are, and which is really helpful, but I'm actually going to store them with the brush side upwards. I do clean my brushes, but there is still some residual ink on them, and I personally just didn't really want ink transferring into that bamboo. You will be able to clean it with a baby wipe or something like that, but I find that it was quite helpful just having the brush facing upwards. I can see what colour it is. I'm not too concerned if I get the exact match of ink to the brush, as long as it's in the same colour family. I'm pretty happy with using brushes, you know, for different shades of ink. So I'm going to have them upwards, and I think that that's going to work really nicely for me. At this point, I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to lay out the brushes in the container, but I've since added them all in, and you can see that I've gone for kind of like a colour order. This isn't exactly a rainbow order, but it is the order of colours that tend to work for me. So I've got my yellows, pinks, reds, purples, indigos, blues, aquas, greens, and then neutrals at the other end, and I think that that's going to work quite nicely for me. I have got a bit of extra room here. It's not completely filled up, which I really like. I do like having room to grow in storage, and this is a little look how it's fitting in my craft room. It's really nice just having it stacked on top of my pen storage there. Links to the brush holder and also the brushes are linked in the description bar here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.